All right, we're back. This is page 21 of Math Analysis. It's notes 2. It's actually the last page of notes 2. And let's see what we can do. So it says, suppose that your calculator is extremely limited and only has a sine and tangent button, which I've never heard of, but okay. None of the other trig functions to be found. Show some work and then evaluate each of the following. Check your answers by not pretending that your calculator is broken. Okay, so we only have a sine and a tangent. So I need to be able to go from cosine to sine. So I'm going to say that this should be equal to, so the sine of, like cosine of x is equal to the sine of 90 minus x. So this should be 90 degrees minus 55.2. So I'm just going to use a calculator anyway. I'm going to leave that, which is like something that you do from time to time. So what if you were like, you know, what if you had like a secant button, right? So if you had a secant button, one of the things you could have done is potentially you could have done 1 over the secant of 55.2 degrees, right? That would have been an option. What if you had only a cosecant button? You could do 1 over, so they're cofunctions, so cosecant of 90 minus 55.2, which you also could have gotten from here. What is that? Get out of there. From there, it's like of all the shapes that you would want, a weird little tiny trapezoid is definitely it. So a lot of options, right? And these are the things you need to think about. Like, how can I get these? And play around on your calculator and make sure that you can. So cosine of 218. So we have a sine button. So I'm going to say that that equals. So now this is where it's weird. And we said earlier, your complements and your supplements don't need to be positive, right? So we can actually just say that this is going to be equal to the sine of 90 minus 218. That's pretty crazy that you can do that, but you can. It's going to work. What I'm going to do is I'll finish this, I guess, and then I'm going to go to the calculator and just like punch a bunch of them in. I mean, you can do that on your own, but I'll show you some that I'm going to mess around with. So we have a sine button. So this should be 1 over the sine of 22.8. So maybe you would prefer, you know, you could have done 1 over, so sine and cosine are cofunctions. So the cosine of 90 minus 22.8, that would have worked. You have so many options, you know. You could have done directly. If we had, this would have been equal to the secant of 90 minus 22.8, and you could have gotten there either straight across the way we did, or you could have gone diagonally. Either, it doesn't matter, either. Just like so many options. So here, secant. So secant is, there are two ways I can think to do this. So the first one would be to say that this is the same as the cosecant of 90 minus 22.5. And then go from cosecant to sine. So sine is the reciprocal. So 1 over the sine of 90 minus 22.5. That's one option. The other option is to have gone and said that this was 1 over the cosine of 22.5. So either way, like you end up in the same place, and you should think about all of the options, right? Because these cofunction identities, if you look for them, they're everywhere. If you don't look for them, you're never going to see them. But you got to get used to looking for them. So this is actually just going to be the tangent of 90 minus. Well, is it, or is it just that? So I'm going to do the tangent of 90 minus 84.5, right? Because the cotangent of x equals the tangent of 90 minus x. So that's one option. Another option, though, is cotangent is the reciprocal. Also, so tangent and cotangent are weird because tangent and cotangent, they're cofunctions. They're also reciprocals. So I also could have just done 1 over the tangent of 84.5. And we'll see that those are equivalent when we play around on our calculator in a second. And then here, this would be equal to the, so I'm going to go with the cosecant. I mean, we could have gone in one shot, right? So it's cosecant, but cosecant is 1 over sine. So 1 over sine of 90 minus 55.1. But nothing wrong with doing more steps, which equals 1 over, because I think we only had a sine and a tangent button. But whatever, I mean, you know, be able to do it for everything. Like the problem is just here to give you ideas. It's not here to like be the definitive be all end all of everything that you're gonna do. So let's see. I'm gonna switch to the calculator and just punch some of these in and see how we did. So I'm gonna start a new document. So the cosine, I'm in degree mode. If I wasn't in degrees, doc72, change the degrees, make sure that works out. So we get this. So basically what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to like confirm that things that I wrote are right. So, and if you get the same value, that confirms it. It would be really nice if it simplified the 90 minus 55.2. I understand that it's showing you what you typed in so that you can check it, but I also think it'd be nice if it like reduced it for you, but it doesn't, and that's okay. We could have done 1 over the secant. We didn't have this button supposedly, but like you can see that it works. 1 over the cosecant of 90 minus 55.2. We also could have done 90 minus 55.2 and just use that number over and over again. That probably would have been smart. Cosine of 218 is, okay, so I accidentally hit enter. That's a weird thing. We're going to have to think about that. I mean, that cosine is negative. Like, what is happening? Why is cosine negative? We don't really know that yet. Let's try the sine of 90 minus 218. Same value, which is exactly what I would expect. 1 over the cosecant of 90 minus 218. So just play around, like get used to it. 1 over the secant of 90 minus 218. Keep getting, what? 1 over, oh, sorry. 1 over the secant, not 90 minus, come on. Just of 218. Go. Let's just get rid of that so it's not in our list. So all those are equivalent. Cosecant, 22.8. What else we got? 1 over the sine of 22.8. That's like the direct thing that you get. We also could have done 1 over the cosine of 90 minus 22.8. That should give me the same thing, which means that we could have done the secant of, or is that the one we did? No, we didn't do that. 90 minus 22.8. So it's hard to remember just punching all these things in, right? Secant 22.5, cosecant of 90 minus 22.5 works. 1 over the cosine of 22.5, that's going to work, which means 1 over the sine of 90 minus 22.5 is going to work. You just punch them in. So cotan of 84.5. So we said that'll be the tangent of 90 minus 84.5, but also 1 over the tangent of 84.5. They're all equivalent. And I really think that like this banging away on the keyboard that I'm doing here is like the best way to understand these. You know, you can like write them down, but it's like when you see the numbers and it's coming up the same every time, that's when you really start to like get it, right? Sine of 90 minus 55.1, or I could have just done 1 over the cosine of 55.1, and there you go. So we did a lot of them, we checked a lot of them. What I'm encouraging you to do is like pick your own number and just like play around with it, right? Try to write it in terms of the other trig functions. Try to write it in terms of all of them if you can. There are ways that you could do that. So this is just a list of, I definitely haven't, if we're doing this virtually, I haven't had the opportunity to really emphasize these things. If we've been in class, I have emphasized this. So you and your calculator so far, there are things you should be able to do. First thing you should do is in your calculator, it doesn't even matter, just right now, press Control, go into a document, so like you're looking at the calculator page, press Control S, that's to save. Name your document with your name right now, and then save it. And then when your calculator gets misplaced, I'll be able to pick it up and look at in your documents and I'll see your name. You should do that. That's like a great thing, no matter what. If you're a random person watching us, do that right now. Save a document with your name so that the calculator can get back to you. So save a document with your name. To create a new document, so should I like tell you how to do this? This is like Control plus S and name it. Create a new problem. That's a doc for 1. Define a function, f of x, and then it's colon equals. Graph, find intersection, store. There's no way I'm going to fit that. There are YouTube videos that I've made of that. Find them. They go with these notes. If you look on my website, there's a link to the notes. Under that, there should be a link to a playlist, a separate playlist than these notes. It's just videos in support of the videos of the notes at this point in my life. Change a window, that's in the video. Doc 7.2 for radians to degrees. Doc 7.2, make your change and press enter. Or if you have a CX2, you can actually just like arrow over it and click, and it'll change it. You should be able to see that in the top right corner. It'll tell you if you're in degrees or radians. And then test mode, we have not talked about yet, so I hope to get to that at some point when I see you in person, probably. So, but you should definitely know how to do this. It's like hold escape, press and release on, Control A to uncheck all the boxes, make sure you're in radians when you go into test mode, press enter. That's how you do it. But anyway, I'm going to cut this video here. We're done with this set of notes. I'll be back in the next video to do the next set of notes. So I will see you there.